This is the weekly Easy Genie genealogy newsletter, and recently I've been talking about cases where DNA relatives connect after being separated for many years, sometimes many decades, sometimes the result of adoption, sometimes for other reasons. This particular family, the man who circled, he was actually switched at birth. And when you read about these stories in the media or on like one of the big genetic genealogy testing companies' blogs, it's usually a happy ending. And indeed, this man, now in his 70s, he was able to connect with his biological siblings after his daughter did some DNA sleuthing. So it's great that these stories occur, but what I've been talking about in the newsletter is not all the time are these reunions so happy. There's a lot of questions that people have when this happens. Sometimes, usually actually, these sorts of encounters are unexpected by one side. You know, they'll get an email from somebody and they never heard of them before, and all of a sudden they realize what they assumed about their family is not quite correct. So a bunch of readers reached out to me and shared their stories, and I'm publishing some of them in the newsletter because I want to talk about kind of these experiences and how other people handled it. All the stories I've included in the newsletter, they're republished with permission, and I'm using kind of not real names. This is a fake name. Teresa is not her real name. Teresa is the most striking example because she had this happen twice to her. The first time was like 30 years ago, and a half sister was introduced by another sibling at a party for their father. Kind of a shock to everybody. And some siblings, some family members reacted to it well, others not so well. And then later, more recently, she took an ancestry test, and she had a similar experience. She connected with a half sibling that she didn't know about, and she had some interesting kind of reactions and reevaluations. I kind of sum them up here. You know, she was asking, did she understand her own father? How should information be shared with younger family members? And also, she's kind of has a different perspective on the two half sisters. And she's wondering, like, why is that so, and is that really fair? And then at the very end of it, she's wondering, you know, what sort of connection do I want to have? And my own thoughts about this, it's pretty complex because I've been through this myself. Actually, what prompted Teresa to write to me was I shared a little bit about a similar experience that I had. It wasn't a half sibling; it was a cousin that we didn't know about, and this has actually happened to me more than once. But the stories where people get back together and everything's, you know, everyone's welcome back into the family and smiles on their faces, that's really great when it happens, but that's not the only way for these things to happen. So anyways, that's going to be in the Easy Genie genealogy newsletter. If you look at the link in my bio, just go to the website, click the newsletter link, and you can sign up for free. And basically, I talk about different genealogy topics, and that was the main focus for this week, and also it's going to be in next week as well. A couple other messages and stories that I've covered in there, usually at the bottom of the newsletter. So check it out, and also share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had something like this happen to you, and what was your reaction, and maybe, you know, how should these things be handled? And I know there's no one size fits all rule about it, but I'd like to hear what other people have to say.